Welcome back to The Race. I'm Chris Stewart, and we're here in Lower Manhattan, and it was on this bike path last year that an Islamic extremist driving a van killed 8 people in the deadliest terror attack in New York since 9/11. You can see the concrete barriers that are now up here blocking traffic from being able to get onto this bike path. But it really is an example of the threats that we are still facing today, and we talked to national security experts about the challenges law enforcement's dealing with. What does 9/11 mean to you now, so many years later?
9/11, transformed my life and probably thousands of others. There's literally not a day that goes by I don't think about 9/11.
For decades, Michael O'Neill has worked to stop the next attack.
It's kind of like a life mission to try to make sure something like that never happens again.
He spent 22 years in the NYPD, and the department turned to him in 2001 to launch its counterterrorism division. How has security changed? How's the threat changed since 9/11?
Prior to 9/11, when we were planning for events, it was about crime and quality of life. In the post-9/11 environment, you have to take the terrorism angle into account. But now with the evolution, I would say, of social media and the computer and the internet age, you could be radicalized in your basement. Like that went to a major airport.
Today, he heads a private security company just blocks from Ground Zero.
Obviously it looks like a bomb. And then they were able to determine it actually was a piece of art.
It works to keep businesses safe around the world. Do more businesses look for your services now than maybe they did previously to 9/11 or even as time's gone on since 9/11?
Yeah, it's kind of the unfortunate. I'd love to see the company grow, obviously, but sometimes I wish we didn't even have to exist in the world.
And as another 9/11 anniversary grows near, he's confident in how far we've come in stopping whatever comes next. 17
years out, we're a pretty well-oiled machine with that, and collecting intelligence, understanding a threat, and how to project force against that threat. The Transportation Security Administration, or TSA, was born after what happened on 9/11. The way we traveled by air, it changed forever, from heightened security at the airports to even on the planes themselves. And by now we are all familiar with the metal detectors, body scanners, pat-downs at TSA checkpoints. Last year, the TSA confiscated a record number of firearms in people's carry-on luggage, nearly 4,000 of them. That's about 11 every day. And get this, 84% of them were loaded. And the TSA is just one layer of the defense. Nicole Vowell showing us a daily duty in the air designed to keep our nation safe.
We're throwing D.
Keeping people in our country safe.
Hey, these are some moves I can do.
Is something Charlie Moore has literally fought for
Palm heel.
his entire career.
2 elbows. I don't know how to do much else. That's all I've ever done for most of my adult life.
Even now, post-retirement, he's still tackling the topic, teaching tactics to civilians and officers alike.
Concealed handgun carry, self-protection.
Moore spent 33 years in law enforcement, New York State Police, U.S. Marshals. Then, in 2001, after the deadliest attack on American soil, Moore was deployed to Ground Zero.
Flying over the Trade Center the next day, early the next morning, and just seeing what used to be there.
That historic event shifted Moore's job, becoming a chief of force as a U.S. Air Marshal.
And then they were ramping up, per the president's orders, post 9/11.
Pre-9/11, the U.S. saw other countries' planes taken over and was prepared.
The only thing that happened was, we complied with the terrorists taking over the plane, and they landed in whatever country of choice, and then they let everybody go.
But during 9/11, the U.S. saw terrorists turn those political statements on home turf in a destructive and deadly way.
A plane had never been used in that method before as a weapon of mass destruction. So now it's on everyone's mind that, that's a possibility.
Protocols changed, planes changed, pilots were armed, cockpit doors secured, and Moore's job became critical.
We have to be right 100% of the time, and they only have to be right once.
The number of air marshals flying commercial on any given day is classified, and what they do may not be what you think. Their job is not to interfere with daily passenger disputes. Yep. The ones we see regularly. Their sole job is simple:
But basically they're to prevent a terrorist takeover of the plane and access to the flight deck.
They silently observe and secure the nation from the air, fighting for public safety.
Yeah, I got to maintain, okay?
Something important to not only the people, but to more personally, no matter the elevation.
Next up on the race, how the national security debate is spilling into space.